Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you're just joining us, glad to have you here. We have a speaker here with us, but we're just waiting till we have a good number of people and then we'll get started. So about 3:05, 3:10, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for your time and we hope you find it very interesting. Welcome, everyone. I see some familiar names. Good to have you all here. We're just waiting for a few more attendees and then we'll start at 5 past, okay? I know we value your time and so we want to keep you waiting. Thank you all. Can everyone hear me okay? If you can hear me, just put it in the chat box that you can hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me, awesome. Thank you all. Okay, we'll give people just a few moments and then we'll start. For someone asking, the webinar should last about an hour 30 minutes. So we'll get started in the next 1 or 2 minutes, just so we don't keep you waiting. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Peter, if you can switch on your video now, that would be fine. We're good to go. We have, I think, over 100 people registered, but just because of time, I don't want to keep us waiting. All right, so please, I would ask everyone to please mute your mics, put off your video so we don't have any disruption, and we're able to have a smooth sail. Welcome to Leap Africa's webinar, Nurturing Student Potential in Under-Resourced Schools. My name is Yewande Akpatira, and I am a Senior Program Coordinator at Leap Africa. At Leap Africa, we're a youth-focused organization that is focused on helping young people fulfill their potentials and make a difference in their communities, in their lives, you know, and in the continent. And so everything we do, regardless of the group we are working with, is all geared towards just enabling young people to really become the best and move Africa forward. This is our second webinar for educators. The first one we had was rethinking the role of teachers in the COVID-19 pandemic. If you missed that, you missed a lot, but you can still find the webinar on our website. One of my colleagues there will put the link for the previous webinar that we had. So why are we having this webinar, right? We've seen a lot that has happened in the past few months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We've had school closures, right? But even before then, we all have been aware, or if you're not, we know that there have been challenges in the public education system in Africa. There've been, you know, underfunding, and when you go to the schools, you go to the classrooms, they're not the best conditions for our students to learn, right? We don't have enough teachers, our classrooms are large, but yet we want our young people to be able to find themselves and fulfill their potentials. And that's what we're here to talk about. And we have a very special person here who's going to do that for us. Before we go on, I want to share what the flow of the webinar will be. So when I'm done with the introductions, we're going to go into some questions from me first, and then we'll go into questions from the audience. So if you're here and you have any questions, just put it in the question and answer box. So if you look below your Zoom app, you're going to see a Q&A section. Kindly put all questions there so it doesn't mix up with the comments. And then throughout, if you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, any insights, just put it in the chat box right there. So questions go in Q&A, and in the chat box, you have other comments so we don't miss out your questions. Following that, we'll have, after the questions from the audience, we're going to have something called a rapid fire session. I'm going to ask Peter just some questions in quick succession, and he's going to give us really short answers. And then finally, we'll have some parting words. Again, please keep your microphones on mute so that we don't have any disruptions, and also keep your video off so we don't have any disruptions as well, right? If you have any questions, any challenges, technical challenges, my colleague Olamide is in the chat section and he'll be happy to assist you. All right, and also I need to let you know that this session is being recorded, and it will be available, and it's also live on Facebook, and it will be available after the webinar. So if you miss anything, I know internet is a challenge, and if you miss anything, be rest assured you will get the recording and you can always refresh, okay? All right, so I'm gonna launch a poll right now. I'm gonna ask my colleague to launch a poll, and I just want to know how everyone is doing today. How are we all doing today? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is our mood like? So Paul, if you can go ahead and launch the poll, that would be helpful. Yeah, so if you see the poll, just click. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? I can only see one person has voted. Okay, somebody's 10, very excited. Okay, we have some excited. We have some middle people in the house. They're just, all right, keep polling. 23 of 57. All right, keep going. Wow, only 19% are very excited. All right, go ahead. Just 32 people. Let's see. Almost there. Almost 40 people. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. So it looks like 26% of us are excited, very excited. So I'm happy. And then we have a few people that are not so excited, but I hope by the end of the webinar, you'll be inspired, motivated, you'll be excited, right? So thank you so much for responding to the poll. Now, quickly in the chat section, go ahead and just let us know where you're joining from. I know I have some people from Kenya, right, representing Peter, and then we have other people from Nigeria, from Uganda. So go ahead in the chat section and let us know where you're joining from. Tell us your name, where you're joining from. Lagos, Nigeria, thank you. Can I see more people? Where are you joining us from today? Oh, Budapest, interesting. Saudi Arabia, very interesting. You're welcome. We have people from Nigeria, from Abeokuta, from Uganda. We're glad to have you. Nairobi, Kenya, welcome. How do I say welcome again? It's escaping me. Peter, do you want to help me? Karibu, Karibu Sana. All right, from Lagos, yes. We have from Canada, from Keriko, nice, welcome. From Uyo, very welcome. You're all welcome. We're glad to have you here. All right, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you all. So we have some very excited people from all over the world joining us today. We're glad to have you all. Again, if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A section, and then other comments, please put in the chat section. So we'll get started, the reason why we're here. So I'm going to give a brief intro of Brother Peter, and then we'll start the questions. So Brother Peter is a Franciscan friar and a science teacher at Keriko Mixed Day Secondary School in Pwani, Nakuru County in Kenya. He joined the Keriko Mixed Day Secondary School in 2016, where he teaches math and physics. And I have to admire you, Brother Peter. Those two subjects were not my favorites in school, so I'm very impressed. The school is in a semi-arid village in the Rift Valley province, a region impacted by famine and drought. In 2019, Brother Peter won the Global Teacher Prize, which is an annual prize by the Varkey Foundation. Now, if you've been on Leap Africa's Instagram, you would have seen clips of the ceremony. It was very, very inspiring and heartwarming. My colleague is going to put the link in the chat section so that you can all watch it and be inspired. The Global Teacher Prize is a $1 million award presented annually to an exceptional teacher who has made outstanding contribution to the profession. The Varkey Foundation established the prize in 2014 to recognize and celebrate the impact that teachers have around the world, not only on their students, but on the communities around them. Brother Peter's father was present at the ceremony, and I'm sure he was very proud. Thank you very much for doing us proud. Even the president of Kenya had some kind words to say, and one of the things he said was, "You give me faith that Africa's best days are ahead of us, and your story will light the way for all future generations." Ladies and gentlemen, I am really honored to interview Brother Peter today. Please, let's just celebrate him in the chat section. Let's welcome him in our language. In my language, I'll say a kabo. Welcome, welcome, Brother Peter. Thank you so much for joining us. Can I see some welcomes in the chat section? Thank you. No, yes, a kabo. Karibu, you have your fellow Kenyans here. All right, so let's just get started, okay? Let's go back to the beginning, Brother Peter. Can you share your journey with us? You know, how did you get from growing up in rural Kenya to, you know, becoming the global teacher, you know, the world's best teacher for 2019? How did you go from there, from your family background, where you lived? How did you go from growing up to now becoming a teacher that is an inspiration to so many on the continent and beyond? Yes.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to speak to you today. And thank you for this invitation. I want to thank the Leap Africa for organizing this meeting. And I want to thank God for the gift of life and for, you know, many achievements that He has given us. And I also want to thank my students. It's because of my students. That's why I was able to get this recognition. I can say that it's they deserve of this honor, not me. And therefore, they're the ones who have proved that they have really much, they have great potential to change the world if given the right support. So I was born in Kisii, part of Kenya. That is like 200 kilometers forwards drive from here where I am currently. So I was born in a family of teachers. My own father was a teacher, he's now retired primary school teacher, and then also other members also teachers. And I grew up in a humble family where I went through a number of challenges, like walking to school barefooted, trekking to school, for like for long distances, and then my father was struggling to ensure that we get the best education. But I can say that I was lucky. I was lucky to get the education. But I believe that education should not be a matter of luck. It should be a birthright for every child. And because I was really, I can say that I was influenced by the fact that I come from the family of teachers, and I saw the kind of work they were doing. Like my own father was very passionate in teaching. I saw his dedication, his resilience, his humility, and even many people tell me that I'm like him. So I feel like teaching is a great profession. It is wonderful to be a teacher. And therefore, that's how I found myself to be a teacher. And when I found myself a teacher, I was so happy, and I said that I'll give my level best to solve the challenges. I said I want to be a teacher, not just to teach, not just to go to class and lecture and just talk to students. I want to make a difference. I didn't know where to start from, but I knew one day something will happen, and therefore that's how I found myself to be a teacher. And it happened just by grace, by God, and that I received many achievements, and then finally I was also able to receive the global. The Global Teacher Prize 2019.
Awesome, yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I know one thing you didn't mention in your story is you were teaching in a private school. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So why did you leave the school where you were teaching?
I was teaching in a private school, which was well equipped, had most of the facilities like the internet, the lab operators, and you can imagine all that. And then the students who were there were like that top grade, bright students. Mm-hmm. And then I was working there for 2 years, and the students were doing so well. But even like my subject, I teach math and physics, they were doing so well, scoring high, scoring higher. Some of them were even scoring higher than what I used to score. And then one time I was reflecting, looking at the environment around me. There were many schools who were really going through a number of challenges. They didn't have these facilities like the school they were enjoying. They didn't have the internet, and then they didn't have enough. There was a shortage of teachers. There were quite a number of challenges. So I was touched by that, and then that's how I find myself to really work in my current school. I made an application, and I was able to be matched as the best candidate, and therefore I was posted in my current school, Kericho Mixed Day Secondary School, in a remote area, part of Kenya, in a very remote area. If you're in Nakuru, you might not know where it is, but maybe for now you might have an idea where it is. And I joined the school with that mind that I want to work with the teachers. I didn't know the teachers who were there, but I was very optimistic that something will come out of it. So I wanted to work with the teachers, work with the school administration, do my best to make a difference. I didn't know where to start from, but I said I just have, when you have that, when you change your mindset, you want to make a difference. there's something that contributes towards, changing the lives of other people. And that's what I did. And that's how I came to join my current school.
All right. Thank you so much. I mean, something I've taken away is, first of all, having a determination to make a difference. That was the beginning of your journey. You wanted to make a difference. And it looks like when you have that mindset to want to make a difference, you begin to see opportunities to do so around you. So because of that mindset, you saw the schools around and you thought to yourself, I can actually live where I am because they're doing okay. They have the resources they need and I can go to this school. And one key thing I want people to take out is that you don't really need to have all the answers. Something you said twice already is you didn't really know what you wanted to do, but you knew you wanted to make a difference. And that is the beginning of it. So thank you very much. Someone is saying the network is shaky. I'm not sure if that's everyone. If it's everyone, let me know so we can try to fix it, okay? Yes, all right. Thank you very much. Now, how did you feel winning the Global Teacher Prize? How was that experience for you from application? Tell us about the whole process. How was that experience for you? So when you were called out, because you did not know, when everyone was called on stage, it looks like you didn't know who was going to be the winner, and then you were announced the winner. So tell us, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, so, winning the Global Teacher Prize, to me, I can say that it was a great honor. I thank God, I thank my students. To me, it was a surprise. At that moment, to me, it was like a miracle. I didn't expect it, even when I was participating, when I was nominated. I thought it's just something just for the sake of it. Because when I look at, at my life, I look at what I've gone through and the kind of school where I was teaching, that is the least thing I expected that will ever happen in my life. And then, there was I looked at the website of the Global Teacher Prize. The previous winners had high profiles. Some of them were like, I remember reading about one of the professors from Ghana. And then to me, participating was like an opportunity to learn, to explore and, to see the outside world. Because as teachers, we are also learners. We don't just teach, we are also learners.
Yeah.
So when it emerged that I was the winner, I felt like it was a great honor, privilege, and a great surprise. I felt like, what is this? What does it mean to me? It took quite some time to get in terms, to believe that I'm the one who was the winner, because I remember a few years ago I used to read about the previous winners, like the 2019 winner who was from London. I used to read more about her, and then you used to see her holding the trophy, and then 2019, here comes the one holding the trophy. And the people around me, people from all over the world, from US, from Nigeria, from Australia, China, they're all looking at me. I became like the focus. So to me, it was a great surprise. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. So teachers should always be looking out for opportunities. It looks like you're always on the lookout for opportunities to expand yourself, right? And that's one of the ways you can also begin to nurture your students' potential, by always looking out for opportunities. All right, so my next question is, you started a club when you got to the Keriko Mixed Day Secondary School. You started a talent nurturing club, right? And then they had a science club and you expanded it. Now, what motivated you to, start this talent nurturing club? What was that? What did you see? What motivated you to think, you know what? And then how did you know that was what you wanted to start? Yeah.
Okay, as teachers at times we have abilities, teachers, or teachers and abilities that have seen that all over the world, and the teachers have interacted with, that they always have a solution. They can make a difference when if they take their time. They can always, they always know how to, they are very creative. They know how to come up with a solution and solve, the challenges, which people are facing. And as I said, that I didn't know exactly where to start from, but I said I'll use my abilities, where I know, where I have my talent. I remember even myself when I was in the high school, the secondary school, I used to participate in science, science clubs, in debating clubs in young Christian students and in many other social activities. So I said, I'll make use of what's in me, and I've seen the other teachers have the same. And that's how I managed to get into these clubs, the science club, the STEM club, and the talent nurturing clubs. The main reason for doing this was to make them feel that they have talents in them, they have the potential, they can do something. I observed that their self-esteem was so down. You remember, this is a local school, we have categories of schools, we have national schools, we have extra county, we have sub-county, and our school is at the bottom. In many cases, we receive students who are struggling at the bottom of the class because those, the top cream normally join the international schools, they also join national schools. So students, because they know that they only, they're like struggling at the bottom of the class, like, I don't know, the low achievers, their self-esteem was low. So I wanted to start something to prove to them that they also have something. It's not just about having high grades, they can also do something. There's something in them. So that's what that was the main motive for starting the clubs.
Okay, so tell us about the talent nurturing clubs. What kind of activities do you do? How do you run your club meetings? What type of things do you do?
So the talent nurturing club was a way of, exploring their talents, identifying their talents, and then, guiding them, how, motivating them to work on, to improve on what they, on their pitches. I can say that I was creating opportunities for them to participate in many activities like singing, debating, and all of that. So like we have some who can dance, I was inviting one of them, just come, register here. So we had, I talked to them, and they were able to register, and then they formed their officials. They were able to do some, elections, and then they were able to come up with their own, their own leaders. And then it was working so well. So, but all the time I was with them, guiding them, and trying to ensure that everything is working well. I realized that if you don't work with this, if you're not monitoring the students, if you just tell them and then you go away, things may not work well. So all the time I ensure that I'm with them, guiding them, mentoring them closely, and that's how it ended up. It was very successful. The same thing with the science club, the STEM club. I was using the same technique. Just working with being with them and ensuring that you give them the maximum support. At times, some they want to go, they don't want to come. This week, you see, this one is there. Another week, the other days are not there. So you look for ways on how to get them back. At times I remember going around, classrooms looking for them. It's like, come back, this for your future. And then you experience a number of challenges. At times, you get disappointed, but at the end of it, I was determined. I wanted to ensure that all the time they are together. Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Thank you very much for sharing that. One thing I really noted is what you said about it's not all the time about academics, especially with students who are not performing very well. What other things can we use to attract them back to school? Because one of the reasons, they try to run away from school is because they think, I'm not learning anything. I probably am not good at academics anyways. And then you started this club where, just come and sing, dance, showcase whatever talent you have. And at Leap Africa, in some of our training programs, we have a module called self-identity and self-confidence. And we believe that the foundation of leadership, of you being someone who can make a difference, is knowing who you are, right? And how do you know who you are? You have to try out things, join a talent club, right? The foundation of self-confidence is knowing who you are and having a strong self-identity. And I really like the fact that you invite them. It's not about math or English or science. This time it's just come and have fun. And in the place of fun, you learn about who you are. And like what you said, your self-esteem increases. We cannot nurture student potential if the self-esteem is not there, right? Brother Peter, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
There was a little bit of a disconnection, but now I can hear you, yes.
Okay, apologies everyone for the network. I think that it seems overcast outside my window, and so maybe that's what's affecting the network, but hopefully when you see the recording, it's much better. So I was saying that self-esteem is so critical in nurturing students' potential. I think it's the beginning, like you've said. All right, so when we talk about the science club, your students have gone on to win awards. These are students that come from under-resourced schools, right? When I was reading, your school, I don't know about now, but your school had just one computer for the school, and internet connection was not very good. But yet your students have been able to go on to win competitions, both in Kenya, and then they've gone to represent Kenya outside the country, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. So what are some of the constraints you faced? And then how were you able to get them to that point, from people who don't want to come for club meetings and you have to call them around, people who don't see themselves as carrying anything, to being able to win competitions in Kenya and even represent the country outside? How were you able to do that?
Yeah, so I can say that there were quite a number of challenges, constraints here and there. That one you expect. You know, life is not, smooth. You know, at times things don't happen the way you expect. So there are quite a number of challenges. One of the challenges is that there were lack of resources. As you have said, we didn't have the computers. I remember struggling with only one desktop computer. That's the one shared with the staff, you know, the school pastor, the secretary, and like when we are setting the exams at the end of the term, that's, you know, you request, you have to wait. It's like you wait, you know, you book, you know, when is that? There will be that time, that chance to use it. So we were struggling with a few resources, and then I remember in the lab struggling with the, you know, with the lab apparatus, trying to improvise here and there, and so there are quite a number of challenges in terms of resources. And then the other thing I was saying is in terms of the low self-esteem of the students, and that's something I had to work on. You know, at the beginning, the students didn't understand what is this I'm trying to talk about, you know, clubs, telling them to join, you know, bees club, tree planting, the STEM club. They even don't know what is STEM. You know, when I talk about STEM, they didn't even know. So at first it was quite a big challenge. But when after the first, you know, when they were able to get, there was a recognition, they did something and they were able to do so well. That's when I kind of, the whole environment, you know, everything changed. You know, they realized that there's something there, there's something, you know, here somewhere, there's something we can achieve. And from there, it was now very easy. But at first, it was so hard. I'm very sure it created, you know, more chances, and the students, you know, discovered that there's something they can do. And then even the other years now, you know, we're able to get students able to succeed in so many other areas. And even in terms of their discipline, even in terms of their performance, we had even students joining universities. I remember reading about the schools around. It used to have only one student, you know, joining university, the other colleges. But then when I saw the students now, the number is increasing. Now we have 5. Then the other year we had 7. Another year we had 15. Like now this year we have more than 30 students joining colleges and universities. So it gives me that great joy. Therefore, I can say that, first of all, it's believing in the students that they have. You don't have to look at their weaknesses. Don't focus on their weaknesses. Focus on their strengths. Believe in them, because every child has, that's why even God created us, for a reason, that all of us, we have something to offer in this world. And therefore, you go out and get out that great, talent, that potential in that child, and that's what I was doing. And then when the students know that you believe in them, and they can easily tell that you have, you have confidence in them. They also now, it's like you are in the same, in the same path. You are working towards achieving a common goal. You believe in them, and the students know that, and then they also want to achieve that, and that's what happened. And I also want to say that the other thing that made everything to work so well was a great support of teachers. The school administration, like the school principal, was very supportive. Anytime I wanted to requesting for this and this, they were always willing to give me the support that I needed. And that environment, a combination of so many factors, I can say that it made everything work so well. And I'm so happy. I want to thank God and that we have reached where we have reached.
Yeah, thank you very much. So just to summarize some points from what you just made, right? First one is believe in your students. For everyone taking notes, it's believe in your students. And like you said, they can tell when you have written them off. Students, young people can tell, teenagers can tell, because it comes out in the expectations you have of them. I know Brother Peter showed them he had high expectations of them, that he believes in them, and that helped build their self-esteem. The other one is caring about them. Having to go and look for them to come for club meetings, that shows you care about them. These are young people who have gone through different challenges. Some of them are in communities where they have high rates of teenage pregnancy, teen marriage. Some of them are orphans. And so when you show you care about them, some of them have not had people care about them in a while, but when you're able to show you care about them, then they begin to even believe in themselves. Now, the other one I got is improvise. We will not always have all the resources we need. We will not always have Brother Peter said they had to use one computer and take turns in order to use the school computer. But then his students have gone to Arizona to represent Kenya in competitions. How did he do it? By improvising. When you have that strong desire to make a difference, you find a way to improvise. Then the next one is just taking time to teach them. So he was saying that some of them didn't even know what STEM is. They've never heard STEM before. And so taking time to expose them, to teach them, to broaden their horizon. Now, the last one is, I think we lost the video there. Can everyone hear me? Okay, good, he's back. All right, the last one I took is give them challenges. So we're talking about how do we nurture our students' potential. I've said number one is believe in your students. Number two is let's care about them. Number three is you will not have those resources. He did not have those resources, right? But then he was able to find ways to improvise, take initiative. Then number four is teach them, begin to teach them little by little, expand their mind. And then the fifth one is give them challenges. He started with small challenges. How you feel when you try to do something and maybe you thought you could not do it and you do it, it makes you feel more confident. You feel more inspired. You feel like you can do more. So give them little challenges and start pushing them. It shows them that you believe in them. But sometimes when you don't stretch them, when you just leave them, then they write themselves off. And they just think, if my teacher does not believe in me, if walimu is teacher in Swahili, if walimu does not believe in me, then then I'm nothing, because they look up to teachers. Believe it or not, young people look up to their teachers. And so the more challenges you give them, surmountable, plant a tree. Let's do a science project. We know that planting a tree is not the biggest science project ever, but let's do a small plant a tree. They begin to see the tree growing, and then that draws them in. Then they do something else. So thank you so much, Brother Peter, for those insights. Now, the next one is, I want to really understand a little more. How are you able to use ICT in your lessons? So you mentioned that one computer. I know how I feel when I don't have my computer working well enough. Like, I have my personal computer, but it's not working at the speed I want. I know how frustrating that can be. But then you were able to use it in your classroom with your students. I have teachers that are joining us from all over the world, and I know a lot of them are working in under-resourced schools. There's no power in the classrooms, in some classrooms. You know, some students have never seen computers before. How are you able to use these methods to bring your lessons to life in your classroom?
Okay, thank you. One time I attended a workshop in Nakuru about ICT integration, you know, when they're teaching. And that's what was like an eye-opener. Because all the time I try, you know, I believe there's an opportunity to learn. Each day is an opportunity to learn. And therefore, when I heard about that workshop, I joined, and then we were able to learn so much about ICT integration and what it can do to the students. So I went back, and this is a great way. I remember one of the presenters, one of the facilitators, you know, using a mobile phone, you know, and then people were wondering, you mean a mobile phone? Because students, in many cases in men's school, you know, a mobile phone is not even, you know, it's prohibited. They're not supposed to have mobile phones. And then here comes this facilitator is talking about a mobile phone. And is, you know, like encouraging teachers, you know, to use the mobile phones. And then when I went back, I reflected, and that's when my mindset has changed. I have to change my mindset. I have to be more creative. How can I apply this to also solve these challenges? But now when I went back to the school, there's only one desktop computer. I have to struggle with that. And then I'm stop a Franciscan prior. I talked to my Franciscan brothers. They were able to donate one more computer, and then also one projector. So we were, you know, in the school now, together with the other teachers, we were struggling with that one projector and one computer. And now the challenge is there's no internet. You know, all the time you are on your phone. You know, even right now I'm just on. You know, I'm using my phone, connecting this with the computer. You know, the computer app here, and that's what I've been doing. So I was able to use my mobile phone to download, you know, content, PDF, videos, and all of that. And the main reason for that is to make learning more interesting. You know, with the students, they don't want to see, you know, the same story. You come the same day, every day you are dancing in the same style. From Monday to Friday, I don't know, to Saturday, you are dancing the same style. They want to see you varying the, you know, the styles of how you deliver, how you teach. So I realized that when you integrate ICT, it becomes so interesting to them. And that's why I saw there is an opportunity in integrating ICT and also in the other aspects like integrating STEM and the other practical aspects. And therefore, I was struggling with this, and I was able to use it well, download, you know, everything from just the mobile, and then I save it in a drive, and then I was able to, you know, project it to the students, and it was very, you know, it was very exciting, and the students used to like that. But I can say that it's about, you know, it's having that. It's not about, you know, the facility. I don't want to say that I don't want to I don't want to blame the school or the whichever people responsible for the facilities. It's not even your fault, the facilities, but if you don't have, I can say that that passion, you know, that determination that I want to make a difference, that will never happen. So it must be there, the determination. You must know what you want to achieve, and then that's it. It doesn't matter whether you have the main computers, you have so many, you know, many apparatus. And therefore, that's what we're doing. And also, you know, I was so happy to join a team of other teachers who had even more experience than myself. So all the time I used to consult them, and they were very much ready to assist me, tell me here you can do this, you can do better this. You know, we were working as a team, and that's how I managed to do that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. One thing that just struck me now is, if you have all the facilities but you don't have passion, you're not going to try to make a difference, really. So the teacher first, the teacher is critical first. The teacher that is passionate, that really wants to make a difference, will try. And you just shared on how you're able to use ICT, right, with limited resources, downloading. There are lots of opportunities now where we can download videos, download, like you said, PDFs, documents, and bring this thing alive to our young people. It's challenging to teach STEM, to teach even math, even English, so theoretical, when they have to apply it in the practical world, right? And Brother Peter just shared some of the things that he did, you know, downloading these things and researching. Another thing he's mentioned over and over again is the role of partnering with other teachers. No teacher is an island, right? He's mentioned it over and over again, with the support of teachers. So how can teachers in a school come together to even write, you know, a proposal to a company that has factory in that community to say, please buy us one projector. Even if it's one projector you can afford to buy us, please buy it for us. Teachers seeing themselves as project managers, not just teachers staying in the classroom, but going out there to write proposals, to try to fundraise, to get some of the additional materials that they need. Thank you so very much. Do we have any questions before I continue? I can't see any questions. Any questions? If you have a question, please put in the Q&A section so I don't miss it. And if you're just joining us, we are talking about how do we nurture young people's potentials in under-resourced schools. It's not easy to get more funding to schools, but what can we control, right? There are things we can control, you know, sphere of influence, sphere of control. If we keep focusing on, oh, we're not getting funding in our schools, no one is giving us money, we're not getting enough, that's why our teachers can't succeed, our students can't succeed, then we might not get anywhere with these young people. And Africa desperately needs every young person to succeed. Imagine every young person in Africa succeeding. Where are we going to be? And so let's really just take some of these lessons and see how we can apply them in our classrooms. All right. Okay, good question. Someone is asking, and we were going to get to that later, but I'll ask it now. And Brother Peter, I know we've also talked about this on the phone. How can I reach out to my students in this period? Most of them don't have a device. So, Brother Peter, I know we've had this conversation, but please share your thoughts. How can teachers, this is a challenging period, all of a sudden schools had to close. No warning, we all just had to go home, and a lot of these young people that we are serving in under-resourced schools don't have access to even a TV or a radio. So how can we reach these students in this period?
Thank you. That's also a question I've also been asking myself. It has been quite, you know, hectic moment for teachers, for parents, for everyone. You know, it's quite there's a crisis, but I believe that there is always a way. You know, there's always a solution, and that's why, you know, meeting this way when people come together, great things happen. We'll always be able to get solutions. There is a way, and that's why teachers are believed to be like problem solvers. We always know how to to solve, face, address, the challenges that the students are facing and what is also facing, whatever challenges people in the communities are facing. So it is the same question I've been asking myself. And currently, what I do, we have a WhatsApp group in our school, and that's how we try to reach out to the students. So whenever they have a question, they ask, and then we are able to answer them. And then we at times you call the parents, and then you guide them what they can do, ensure that they monitor their children. So we have to learn how to to work with the parents. It's quite a big challenge. And the other thing, that's now on an individual level, I've taken my own initiative to buy some devices, just affordable phones for some students, and I'm helping out just if it's just a few students. So, and it's working so well. And then I give them some data bundles I buy for them, so that they can also be able to train the other students. The learning can can continue. But right now it's quite a big challenge, because without the internet, there's no way they can be connected. So you can only encourage them to use their other solutions, like listening to the radio, telling them, draw a schedule. They should be able to know, such a time we'll have this program from the radio. Like, we have KCP has that program, there's a radio and the TV program. So you tell them to know that time that the sessions are going to, when the sessions are going to be conducted, and then you work with the parents, and ensure that right now, like I can say that parents are the people who can help, and the parents are the guardians. So that's how I try to reach out to my students. But it's quite a big challenge, especially like this area where the network is not internet, students don't have phones. So quite a big challenge. And the other thing, I encourage parents to ensure that the children are the students are able to do at home is to do the assignments. We give them assignments before going home, so they make use of what they have. They revise the notes, so that learning can continue. And the other thing that I encourage the parents to ensure that their children are doing is to learn. Now that they're at home, there are things they can learn. They can learn, like farming. They can learn how to
life skills, hard skills.
Those practical skills. These are some of opportunities they don't get when they are in school, because all the time they wake up in the morning, they go to school, they come late in the evening, they don't get opportunities to do some of these practical skills. So right now, they should make use of this time to learn now the practical skills, and I think the parents should be able to, they should really help their children learn some of these practical things. They should know that the child know how to cook. Some children don't know how to cook. Some very best things you expect someone to do, they don't know. So they should learn some of these. And then they should be able to learn the community aspect, living together, praying together,
Thank you. So Brother Peter has made some really great points, right? So we as teachers, I know that teachers have high expectations of how learning should be. My students should be in my classroom. I should be, speaking and interacting with them. But this period calls for flexibility, and he's just giving us different ways to reach them. For some, we might be able to get them devices. They might be able to learn, right? We could download some things, put it on the devices, send it to them, and they learn it. Maybe we rotate it, right, around. And another thing is that he's mentioned is WhatsApp groups, trying to reach out to parents on WhatsApp. But we know that not every parent is on WhatsApp. So can we call them and say, look, parents, Right now, you are your child's biggest education champion. You are at home with them, so make sure they are learning the things that they've already learned before. They have their school notes, they have their textbook. Another thing that they can really learn is soft skills. How do you collaborate with people? In the 21st century education, we have 6 skills, the 6 C's. One of them is collaboration. You must be able to collaborate with people. So those are the skills that they can learn. So it doesn't mean they're not learning because they're not learning math, English, physics, chemistry, right? But this period, they can learn hard skills, learn to work in the farms with their parents, learn to cook, learn to braid hair, things that they can make money with when they go on to tertiary education or even now. And so I really like that point. There are other things they can learn. You might not be able to reach them with academic work, but surely you can encourage that they revise what they've learned and that they also take advantage of learning hard skills and even soft skills. So that was a great point. Thank you so much. There's a very interesting question here I like, because, you know, we cannot be here and think, oh, everybody's excited that these students are going, you know, beyond the village to learn and they are doing great things, but not everybody might be very cooperative. So someone asked the question, how do you cope with negative stakeholders? So stakeholders who are not very excited about some of the things that you're doing. You know, they are ready to disrupt your activities because they have vested interests. How do you manage those group of people who are not very supportive of some of the work that you are doing?
Thank you for the question. I can say that always life is not, you know, things don't happen always the way you expect. There are always challenges. Challenges are part of life. You have to be ready to face challenges. And that's why, you know, as teachers, we are always like problem solvers. We are there to solve problems, to help, you know, help people solve serious challenges that the society is facing. So you expect that aspect, you know, negativity, having people have that negative mindset, they are always there, and I've come across them. So I can say that it's just to remain focused. I can say they just want to discourage you. They want to, I don't know, yeah. So the trick is you just remain focused. You know what you want to achieve. You know, you have to look back where you have come from. Like myself, I normally look at where I've come from. I identify my own background. You know my background. I came from a very humble family. I remember going through so many challenges. I said walking to school barefooted. You know, even learning how to speak. I never used to speak. Even I used to, you know, I learned to speak in English in the secondary school, and then there were no facilities in the school, and there was I lost my mother when I was young, so such a number of challenges. So you look at where you come from, and then you know where you are going. You remain focused, and then don't give up, don't surrender, just don't surrender. Even the same thing with the students. At times you get the students, they want to, you know, they are always very, they always want to, they also want to, they want to, it's like they want to challenge you. You know, at times you go through a number of challenges, even when you are teaching in a class. You remain focused. You don't say that now this what teachers have done, or this one some people have done, this what the students have done. Just remain focused. You know what you want to achieve. One day you are going to achieve it. So you keep dreaming, having, you know, that positive mind. One day, if you remain focused, you'll be able to achieve it. And that's what I've been doing, remaining focused all the time. And I believe that one day I'll achieve it. So being optimistic all the time.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. You can't always have everyone on your side, but you must be convinced about what it is you want to achieve. So you know your vision, and then you know your motive, right? You're doing this to make life better for your students, not to, you know, elevate yourself. You know, you have the right motive, your vision. The more you get results, you begin to win evangelists, right? So you might not win everybody over, at the beginning, but not everybody will believe in your dream. But the more you struggle, the more you put in your best. And Peter has said it over and over again. Teachers are problem solvers. Teachers begin to see themselves as problem solvers, as creative individuals. So creativity is not just being artistic. It doesn't mean I can draw, I can paint, I can dance, I can sing. But creativity is finding different ways to solve problems, right? It's looking for opportunity to solve problems. So thank you very much for answering that question. Let me see. We have other questions. Okay, so this is a good one, right? You've been able to achieve some results in your county and even beyond. You're inspiring people all around. Now, someone is asking, what is the best way to multiply the results you have achieved? You know, something that I saw when I was doing my research is that, you know, through making your students believe in themselves, you have dramatically improved their achievements and self-esteem. And you also mentioned that you have people graduating and going to tertiary education. You know, enrollment has doubled. People want to come to school because it's fun. They know it's a place they will find themselves. Cases of indiscipline have fallen. And then 16 out of 59, so 2017, 16 out of 59 students went on to college, and 26 in 2018. And girls specifically, because we know that the challenges that our young girls face is pretty unique, right? Girls, their achievement has been boosted and they're leading boys even in some of the courses. Now, how do we ensure, or how do we multiply these results that we're seeing around in Kenya, in Africa, in the world? How do we multiply? Because it's not just in Kenya, in Nakuru that we have these challenges. We have it here in Lagos. We have it in Akwa Ibom. We have it in Uganda, right? So how do we multiply these results? Yeah.
Thank you. So I can say that best way to multiply this is to share the way we are sharing here.
Mm-hmm.
All the time, like I learned something, you know, I participate in a number of meetings, and yeah, so I learned something. So I think there should be more of these meetings, mm-hmm. so that it can give many people, you know, the opportunity to learn new things, and you'll be able to learn the best practices. So I think that's the way. And then the other thing I can say that it's more of sharing the story, you know, like what I know. If you know something, there are many people out there who are very innovative. Even where I teach, we have, you know, there are teachers there I know who are very, who are very innovative. They know the best practices. So we share out. You know, if you know that you are very innovative, you know, the best way to go about, you know, solve challenges, you share with others. Be ready to share with others, and that's how you'll be able to help other people. So it should be more sharing the best practices to the other people, the way we are doing right now. And I think the other thing that can be done is, you know, the policymakers and the government and those people in charge of the, you know, of education, they should take some of these things seriously, ensure that they are able to bring these people together, and then they are able to be the best. And some of the initiatives which have ensured that this has happened is in terms of coming up with the ways of rewarding teachers. Like in Kenya, there are some ways of rewarding teachers. Where the best teacher is, you know, there are some criteria they come up, they use to come up with the best teachers. So you reward the best teachers. Like last year we had the African Union also coming in. We had Eric Ademba, and then we had another teacher from Uganda. And I'm very sure even Nigeria and Ghana, we have some, you know, you are able, you know, those teachers are put on a spotlight. You are able to see the best practices, and they are able to share something great with the rest of the world, you know, something great with the rest of the world. And I think we should take this seriously and be able to learn something new. Not just stick to the traditional way of approaching things, teaching in class, and you rely on what in college. If you rely on what you learned in college, I'm very sure you may only be able to to do literal. Much of what I've been doing with my students is, in many cases, is what I've learned recently and what I learn each and every day from the people I meet, my fellow teachers. So, and everything I take is seriously. I get challenged, like I mentioned, this year I went to Nakuru, I attended a workshop, and I was challenged. I went back, I reflected, and I came up with innovative ways of ensuring that I put into practice what was being shared. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. You know, that was really helpful in terms of, you know, you have to, as a teacher, you have to really just learn. That's really what I'm getting from it. You have to really expand your mind. And as you learn, don't just keep it to yourself. We're not trying to make a star teacher or a hero. You know, I want to be the best in my community, so everybody sees me and they're like, ah, Walimu Yewande, you know, doing very well, and I'm the star and everyone else is suffering. Then there's no success in that, right? So success comes when we share our best practices. As a teacher, we need to learn, and as we learn, we share. As a teacher, I know we have quite a number of teachers listening. You can create something called a community of practice, meaning people who come together, whether it's virtually or physically, to learn together. You can start a book club. You can give each other topics to learn on a weekly or monthly basis. Go and research on, you know, how to teach STEM in the villages. Go and research on this new technology. How can we teach our students? We have things like AI. You know, if a student doesn't even know what a television is, how are they going to learn what artificial intelligence is? So I encourage teachers on this is sharing. Let's really bring people together and share best practices. And there are different ways to share. You can share on platforms like Brother Peter is, this webinar. You can also share on social media. We have, you know, quite a number of teachers who are beginning to see social media. And the more you share, the more you put it out there, people see and want to support. But if you don't put it out there, then nobody knows what you're doing. So don't see putting on social media as you trying to be proud. You're not trying to be proud. You're trying to draw attention to the need so that more people will align. Exactly. Someone put in the chat section, teachers need to learn to tell their stories. You're doing a lot. You're helping young people in their circumstances. You're molding their social, emotional beings. And so you need to learn to share. That is not pride. It is not pride at all. Bring people together, call teachers and say, you know what, let's form a club. Not just us having clubs for our students, but also us. Let's have a club. Let's learn. Let's read up on things that are going on. I attend a course. I come and share what I learned. That is so important and so key. So thank you very much, Brother Peter. Now, I have many questions, but I want to make sure we take some really critical ones. And then we'll end. Our goal is to end by 4:30. So thank you all for your attention. Okay, so someone is asking here, in this period, she's trying to teach her students via online engagement through Facebook Messenger, but some students don't seem to show interest. Only a few of them show interest, which makes the class less effective. So someone is asking, how do I make them see that I want them to learn and also bring out the best in them? So right now, this teacher is trying her best to, you know, help students and so she's organized classes on Facebook Messenger. But now the students themselves are not showing up. So how can she encourage them to show up and to see that I really want the best for you? How can she do that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I can say that young people always notice at times they tend to lose direction, and it's now up to teachers to ensure that we give them the best, you know, mentorship, and we guide them, ensure that they know the right thing to be done. At times it's because of their, you know, because they're young and they have a different perception. Now that we know we have the training, we have, you know, we have the experience, we have to keep them on the, you know, ensure that they are on the right track. And one way is to remain focused as a teacher. At times, the students don't see the need of doing this. But as a teacher, okay, you don't give up. Don't give up. Students at times they don't see, they want to give up. Now, when they see that a teacher is focused, is determined, has vision, all the time the students have the numbers gone down, and they see that their teacher is focused and they doesn't give up easily, so they still come back and they want to. So at times it also depends on the how well you focus, the kind of focus, the kind of vision that you have, and they can easily tell that our teacher is really focused. But if they kind of do that and you are easily discouraged, you give up, they also at the end of the day, within a very short time, the whole program will not work. So I think as teachers, because we are problem solvers and we are very creative, we can also get a way of dealing with this, and even reaching out to them, reaching out to their parents, and even if it's in terms of giving them facilities, the resources that they need. Like what I've done to a few students, I've reached out to them to give them the data bundles, because I know where they come from. They cannot be able to afford such like things. So you try always to be with them. And when they realize that you are always with them, you don't want to leave them. You are always with them. The program will be able to work so well.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Again, let's be consistent. You might try, you might keep trying. They might not. It's sometimes discouraging. You put in so much effort. Only 2 people show up to your Facebook class, and you wonder what you could do. Teach those 2 people like you're teaching 100 people. Be consistent. Like Brother Pete, the more they see you are consistent, the more that they begin to tell each other, come, it's actually fun. And then think of different ways. Maybe you not focus on academics for one day and just call everyone and say, let's just chat. Let's have a conversation. In Nigeria, we call it let's gist. Let's just talk. And what are some challenges you're having joining us? So those are some things that you can do. But like you said, you have to be consistent. You're creative, you're a problem solver, and so you can find a way around it. Call their parents to really understand what are some challenges. All right, we are almost close to rounding up. Thank you all for your attention. Really appreciate. This webinar cannot be possible without you, the participants, and our speaker. So we thank you for your time. I hope you're learning a lot. I am inspired and I'm taking quite a bit away from this. So I really, really appreciate your time. Now there's a question here. We've talked about teachers, right? We've talked about students. We've sort of talked about parents. Now let's talk about school management. School management. How are you able to, what kind of support, right, do you get from your school management? And for people, how can one get buy-in from school management? So question again is, what kind of support have you gotten from your school management? And how can what do you advise a teacher to do? I'm in a school and I want to do this project. I've seen that there's this, there's that. How can that teacher begin to get the buy-in from school management to be able to do these wonderful projects in school? Yeah.
I said that at the beginning, that you need to work with other people. You have to work as a team. That should be, that's what all the time we should focus on, working as a team with other teachers, even with the parents, involving even the parents. Because if you work alone, you'll only be able to achieve little. And then people may think that you are just working there, you don't want to achieve your personal your personal motives. So, but when you engage others, you consult them, they'll feel that they feel even appreciated. So all the time I consult, I engage with the school management, the school administration, and they're very supportive. And when they see that you are very focused, when they see that you are very determined, and they can easily tell, most of these administrators, these managers, they know, they can easily tell that this is someone who is hardworking, this is a very creative teacher. They give you full support when they know that this is who you are. But at times there are quite a number of challenges. You may face challenges. You are not receiving the support, the kind of support you need. So that this is the time I said that don't give up. When you are getting discouraged because of not receiving the support you expect, because at times things that don't always happen the way you expect, just keep going. Don't give up. Don't surrender. So always try to just maintain that relationship, respect them, and show them that you are working towards a common goal. You want to improve. You want to achieve something, and that's what I've been doing. Respecting my my bosses, even the other teachers, and in return they also respect you. When you respect other people, those who also want to they also want to respect you. And I'm so happy. I thank God because of their great support. They have been very supportive, and I'm very optimistic that they always be very supportive. And like the award that I got, I want to give back. I want to give that, I want to support the community and the school. And that's how we keep supporting each other. Yeah, that's all it is.
Thank you so much. We're all going towards the same goal, right? So seeing that first and trying to paint that picture, like it sounds like, you try to make it clear that we're all trying to achieve the same goal. If our students do well, they say it's the school doing well. If they pass, the KCSE, they know that it's the school. It's not, Brother Peter's students, but it's the entire school, right? So very important. Then I like what you said about respect. Right now, let's begin. If we have not been in the past, let's begin to respect those around us. Respect is one of our core values at LEAP, and it's so important. Let's respect the school management. Let's respect the teachers. Even when we think they're not doing what we think that they should do, let's keep respecting. That's how we win them over. Now, it doesn't mean we compromise our values, because I'm sure Brother Peter does not compromise his values, his personal values of integrity, but definitely making time to respect them, including them on conversations. It's so critical. I mean, somebody was saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We have to work with our school management. We're not trying to be superhero teachers. There's a purpose for it. It's to make the lives of our students better, and then ultimately to improve Africa. And we can all agree that Africa, we're not where we ought to be. And so, very important. Now, there's a question I want to ask. Some teachers feel we have so many challenges in our community. And first of all, I want to appreciate our Facebook audience. Thank you so much, our Facebook audience, for your participation, for being here. I'll take a question from our Facebook audience and I'll go to my question, and then we'll round up in a few minutes. Someone said respect to authority is paramount. Very important. We cannot forget that. We might be better than our principals in our minds, but the principal is the principal. Our teachers, our fellow teachers are our fellow teachers. And let's give honor to whom honor is due. Very critical. Someone is asking on Facebook, now, we have some issues right now. Students are home. I saw a statistic that teenage pregnancy has increased in some counties in Kenya. I think you must have seen that statistic. And I'm sure it's not just Kenya. I've seen Ethiopia. I'm sure there are some in Nigeria, all around Africa, because students are at home. Now, someone is asking from Facebook, how are you handling the issue of drug and substance abuse during this period? Given that some of our scholars come from areas that are seriously affected. Some of our scholars are back home, and back home there are all sorts of vices that they are exposed to. So how are you handling this? Have you had any situation like this? How are you trying to keep your students in check, even while they are far away from you?
Yeah, thank you. So I can say that it's quite a challenge, a big challenge that all over the world, not just in Kenya. And it's everyone, we are seeing strange things that we have never seen before. And even myself, but there are quite a number of things I'm trying to do to address this, because as teachers, I said that we are always known to be problem solvers. I try to engage my students in a number of activities. I have some students who are working on science projects, and all the time I reach out to them, and they are, we meet kind of, we have a WhatsApp group, and then whenever they want to consult, we kind of, we interact, and then I share with them when they have a question. So I am able to answer the question, and we also have other teachers who are in that group. So I engage them. You engage the students in a number of activities, especially now online. That's the only way to go. Mm-hmm. So you engage them in a number of activities, and when you engage them in this, they'll have something to do. But right now, I can say this is a big challenge. It's quite a big challenge. You always expect that those other challenges at home, like teenage pregnancy. So for me, that's what I've done. But I also think that we should work hand in hand with the other authorities. We have the chiefs, we have the other leaders in the community leaders, work hand in hand. Whenever you see a problem, you share with them. This is like I tried to do the same with the local leaders. I always reach out to them. I share with them, we should do this. This is happening. I've seen this somewhere. Maybe we should do this. And then these leaders will be able to check us, because they are better placed. They can, they are able to address this in a better way. So that's why that's what I do. Yeah, that's what I like to do. But the big challenge. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this period has shown us that we cannot separate school from community, right? Because now the students are back home in the community, and we have to rely on our community assets. So to that question about drug abuse, you said, if you notice it's a problem, can you reach out to the chiefs in the area and say the young people right now, because they're not in school, they're engaging in, vices and all that can ruin their lives in future. So what can you as the community do to protect your young people? Because if they succeed, then the community succeed. And it takes a village to raise a child. And then keep checking on them. Keep checking on your students. Even if you cannot engage them in e-learning, even a call to their parents, they know that you still have them in mind. And I know someone asked a question about, you have a classroom of 120 students, they don't have access to internet, what can you do? Divide them and call them, maybe 20 per week or something. Can you find a way to fundraise? Like Brother Peter said, we can't answer every single challenge here, but one thing he has said over and over again is that teachers are problem solvers and teachers are creative. So he may not have faced some of the troubles you are facing. He has shared his own story, but if you put on that mindset, I'm a problem solver, I'm creative, I can collaborate with other teachers, I can join with the community, partner with them to help these young people, solutions will come. It may not be the best, or it may not be what you want, right? We all want our students to have laptops and sit in front of the class or in front of the laptop and have their lessons, but that's not really going to happen, honestly. So what can we do? What else can we do to help them? All right, I'm going to start to round us up because we have spent a long time. So now I'm just going to ask some rapid fire questions. What is one quote that you live by? Brother Peter, what is one quote that you live by?
Okay, there are many quotes, and I've come across many quotes I've heard from people. I've motivated by like great people like Nelson Mandela, Obama, and many other great people. So I can say that one quote I can say that at the moment is that that's in line with the teachers, is that a mediocre teacher tells, the great teacher explains, the speed teacher demonstrates, but a great teacher inspires.
All right.
You inspire. It doesn't matter what you do, but how you inspire your students.
Thank you. So a great teacher inspires. Thank you very much. And then what are some of the resources that have helped you along the way? So you've mentioned training, you've mentioned partnering with other teachers, but what are some other things that have helped you along the way?
So I can say that all the time is that all the time we should be focused. So having passion, humility, resilience, and working with other people, collaboration.
So those have
Especially
helped
humility.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. Humility is key. Humility is key. All right. What is the best advice you have ever received? What is the best advice that you have ever received?
So the best advice I've ever received, and which I can say that has changed my life, is that don't fear to fail. If you don't fail, you don't learn. And if you don't learn, you'll never change. And you should be aware that challenges and failures make us strong people, because through them we become creative as we try to get the solution. So we should never fear to fail.
So don't be afraid to fail, right? Have a growth mindset. A growth mindset means I can always change. I can always improve upon myself. Even if I fail, I learn from my failure and I move on. Brother Peter, someone is asking that you repeat the quote, the first one you gave about teachers being inspiring. Can you kindly repeat that quote, please? Somebody didn't get that. Thank you.
Okay. The mediocre teacher tells. A mediocre teacher tells. The good teacher explains. The superior teacher demonstrates. But the great teacher inspires.
All right.
Yep.
Inspires. And I'm typing it. I got it. Thank you so much. All right. So now we've come to the end. Again, I know we couldn't get every question, but I'm sure Brother Peter will let us know how we can follow him online, how we can reach him. But one thing I want you to take away is the spirit of creativity and problem solving. When you have that and you're able to learn from other people and collaborate, you should be able to get some of the answers that you need. It may not be what you want. You may not succeed the first time, but like he said, you learn from your failures and you move on. So Brother Peter, do you have any, closing thoughts, anything you wanted to share that we haven't said before we close today's webinar? It's been really inspiring. Thank you to everyone who's joined via Facebook. I'm not sure if we're on Instagram Live, but everyone who has joined us and stayed this long, we really appreciate you. We hope it's been worthwhile for you. So Brother Peter, any closing remarks before we go?
I say that it was wonderful to participate in this meeting. I can say that Africa, there's great potential if we believe in our people, in our young, the young generation, give them the support that they need, give them, let us unlock their potential as teachers. Let us be like the destiny enablers who unlock this potential, because they all have great talents. Every single child has a talent, and therefore let's go out and unlock that potential. I'm very sure Africa is going to shine. We'll have famous people, we'll have scientists, we'll have engineers, we'll have famous people who are going to shine globally, and even the world will be able to, it will be a testament that they are going to achieve so much. So that's what I can say. And then as teachers, let's be like facilitators, mentors, unlocking their potential. And then each day is an opportunity to learn. So let us be ready to learn all the time. Like today, whenever I was sharing, there are quite a number of things I've learned from this meeting.
Thank you so much. So again, every child has talent, right? Every child, there's something called the multiple intelligences, and my colleague will put it there. Read up on it. Every child has a talent, and as a teacher, you're a facilitator, you're a destiny enabler, you're a creator, you're a problem solver, like Brother Peter has said. And so, you can bring out the best, and we depend on you. Teachers are so important. I know you don't hear it enough, but teachers are so important, and really thank you. One thing I want to leave you with is, let us live with open minds. Think about what else can I do? What more? Let us live with open hearts. How can I care for my students more? How can I care for the community more? And then let's live with open hands. how can I be a solution provider? What can I do to create change all around me? Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everyone for your attention. This was Nurturing the Talent of Young People in Under-Resourced Schools. And we learned that it starts from the mindset, right? From a willingness to want to do something, from creativity, a willingness to learn, to partner with other people, to be focused, to keep trying to just keep going, to respect others, to collaborate with others, to share what you're learning, and also, very importantly, to continue to see yourself as a creative person, as a problem solver. Thank you so much. Now, as Hugh Jackman said, right, at the Global Teachers Prize 2019, I would like to say that today gives us a chance to really appreciate teachers, to appreciate those who don't get thanked enough for doing all the things that you do for young people. You know, especially when you're in an under-resourced schools, it can be very discouraging. I have visited schools, and sometimes I imagine what it feels to stand in those kind of schools and teach. You know, it can be very discouraging. And so we just want to say thank you. Leap Africa believes that teachers are so critical to raising leaders who will transform Africa. And so we thank you, and just know that we are there for you as Leap. We encourage you to keep doing your best, to keep pushing against the odds, keep looking to role models like Brother Peter, who can continue to inspire you. You know, look to other role models. He's mentioned other teachers, the other finalists for the Global Teacher Prize. Look up to them, get inspiration from them, come together, learn and share and inspire each other. So we thank you so much for your time. Just as a reminder, I know the network is a bit shaky, but you can always re-listen when we share the webinar. And if you're not already, please follow Leap Africa. If you don't follow Leap Africa, you are missing, right? So follow Leap Africa. We're at Leap Africa on Instagram, on Facebook. We're on Twitter as well. You can subscribe for our newsletters just so you keep abreast. We're doing a lot more for teachers because we've realized how valuable teachers are. We've realized so much how valuable teachers are. So please follow us on Instagram, follow us to learn more. And Brother Peter, where can they reach you? How can they follow you? And where can they reach you?
I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Just type my name, Peter Tabichi, and then make sure that, like in Twitter, at Peter Tabichi, and on Facebook, also the same name, Peter Tabichi.
Yes.
So
and on Instagram as well, Peter Tabichi. So thank you so much, everyone. We have a feedback form for you to complete. We want to know what things you want to learn about, right? What more we can do to make this better. We continue to have this educator series. So please fill the feedback form. Take a few moments, fill it. Let's know what we can do better. Let's know what you want to learn about. And we'll keep bringing inspiring teachers to speak with you. So thank you, everyone. Asante Sana, Zikomo. Thank you to all teachers from all across Eshe. Thank you very much to all our teachers. We really appreciate, and everyone, whether you're a teacher, you're an educator, you work with students, thank you so much. You work with teachers in the education sector. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, Walimu Peter. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here with us. Have a good day, everyone, and stay safe, keep well, and please fill the feedback form. Thank you so much. All right, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please fill the feedback survey really quickly. Thank you so much.
Get up to 60% discounts on all items in the Jumia anniversary sales starting June 22.
When June's on the team, you know it's a problem.
Jules, baby.
Baby, I grow. If your money money finish, she ask me, brother. Yeah, dear girl. Bring all your friends, I got you, my love. Yeah, dear girl. Forget my garden, some baby, yo. Dancey, 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 yo. Dancey, 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 yo. Brother, enjoy. Take your time, my love. Jolly Ogbako, bring some wine, no they waste my time. I need your love for any kind, whether Ghana or Nigeria. We no get worry, I need she oh yeah, can you badu. All night long, I'm a party till early mama, yeah, yeah. Are you feeling me till early mama, yeah. Baby, do for me till early mama, yeah, yeah. Are you feeling me till early mama? Baby, do for me till early mama. Yeah, dear girl. If your money finish, she ask me, brother. Yeah, dear girl. Bring all your friends, I got you, my love. Yeah. Forget my garden, some baby, yo. Dancey, 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 yo. Dancey, 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 yo. Brother, enjoy. Take your day. Oh, banana.
Dream, man, worry, when you're Brian, you're grow. That's a show, I'll be sound, maybe in the jet, to a money and you nago. The show me congratulate you, see, and I want any jelly in Nago. You bounce a tree, enjoy your demo. Come on, dear, I move your body, man, Jobia. You went in a party, because I'm my enemy, come on, dear, I move your body, man, Jobia. You went in a party, because I'm my enemy, yeah.
Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze uhambe nami
200
Zungangishilana Alamida ilondoloze buso wami awukolana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikolana buso wami awukolana ilondoloze zuhambe nami ilondoloze 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 zungangishilana ilondoloze 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 zungangishilana dawo yami ayikolana buso wami awukolana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikolana buso wami awukolana ilondoloze zuhambe uhambe nami. Jerusalema, ikhaya lami, ilondoloze, uhambe nami, zungangishilana. Jerusalema, ikhaya lami, ilondoloze, uhambe nami, zungangishilana. Dawo yami ayikholana, ubuso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze, zuhambe